Hello. Hello,
Hello.
hello. Good morning, everyone. Hey, babe. Hello.
Hello there. You're gonna get some it's as per usual with our voice notes, you're getting some like background noises. Um, I woke up late, doing my makeup, trying to like drink my coffee, write some notes, and
Uh-huh.
we had
Uh-huh.
like
Uh-huh.
comfortable 35 minutes to do a podcast that was supposed to be an hour, and it's nobody's fault. I would like to
It's
remind you of that.
definitely nobody's fault. I so much
Nobody's
love
fault.
that we had yesterday like hour and a half long conversation about like what
Exactly.
we are gonna talk about, and then here we are, you in your underwear trying to put your face on, and then it's fine. Okay, okay, let's
I
do that.
mean,
Um,
Sweetheart, sorry, but like, name a trans woman that has her fucking life in order. Come on. Like, we're all the same.
Fair. Okay. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Whoever is joining this stream at this non-Christian hour, or actually very Christian hour, I
I mean,
presume
when
that, yeah,
when does a Sunday mass start?
I have no idea. I
Shit. Okay,
presume
anyway.
a Sunday mass is the at 2? No? At 11? No?
No, we should shut up. Oh,
I
at
should
11.
shut up.
Oh, shit.
What? Okay. 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 So, I mean, okay, so we are late. We are being told that 11 is the time of the Lord, and we missed it. And since there is this whole new discourse about everyone joining church again for whatever reasons, which in my context was a complete no-go, I'm like, maybe everyone is away. Um, Praying, that's fine. We
I
can
mean,
talk about what are we talking about today? I think we wanted to talk. I think
I
we
mean,
wanted to
like,
touch one of the
yes,
very popular subjects, not religion, uh, but an adjacent subject. And
always.
those are very traditional gender roles, or I mean, very specifically, traditional masculinity portrayed within popular culture, within TV and film, with a bit of nostalgia hints, starting in the 80s, going through the late 90s and early 2000s, and maybe hinting on it today. But yeah, I don't
Definitely.
know.
I think that, yeah, like one thing that is important in this sense, because you've mentioned like the 80s and the early 2000s, I think this is semi-important that we do like basic introductions as we both
Let's do
relate
that.
as we both relate to these times and these TV shows in a different way. Because
Okay.
I'm
Oh, you
Maxine. I'm
want
a
to reveal our age or what?
no, dear, no, please, again, like what trans woman would do this to you? No, absolutely not. But like, what I mean to say is that one of the TV shows is taking time and taking space in the early 2000s, meaning kind of throughout my early childhood, and therefore is also largely. I did not watch it during the time, and as far as I know, you didn't watch your show during your childhood times, no? But like we both kind of know that they passively either represent and simultaneously somehow influenced in what way we like formed and rather didn't want to form
Rather
our
didn't.
own yeah, form our masculinities, form our genders.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But actually, a good point. Considering that we are half an hour late, which is nobody's fault, we completely
absolutely.
forgot to introduce ourselves. So, yes. So maybe let's do that. So my name is Yan, and I am on the generational spectrum, something one might call a millennial. So
Crazy.
yeah, that's very important to know for this whole like nostalgia perspective.
Exactly. I'm Maxine. I am more of the Gen Z spectrum, but considering how like the pop culture and politics has moved, we're both basically dead. And we're discussing two TV
Yeah.
shows that, I mean, genuinely, like I rewatched it again yesterday, and it feels so like beyond out of time. Like both of them, I'm completely like even unable to like place them within any kind of like in any way to relation to either of us, but for some reason they are, and that's somehow really deeply concerning.
Mm. Okay, but then considering that we managed to introduce ourselves so late and we are talking about TV shows which we have not yet even named or mentioned, so we are actually talking about two things. One is the legendary Golden Girls, a TV show running from I think 85 till
Yes.
early 90s. Do you remember the exact dates? Like,
I
doesn't
think it was
matter
eight
really.
I think it was 85 to 92, I
Okay.
want to say.
Okay. So that's the first one. And the second one is called Two and a Half Men. And that's a show which which ran between
2003
2003
and
and
12?
2015, actually 15.
Ah,
That's insane. So it survived of 9/11, financial crisis, Occupy Wall Street, and all these things, which is insane. While Golden Girls survived the end of the Cold War and translated its own message into the new globalized terror of our late stage capitalism. So that's really totally amazing. And as it is with nostalgia, usually often we feel drawn nostalgically towards things which we did not experience ourselves or did not live through. And even though, yes, I was a kid at the time when when Golden Girls were on, definitely not something that would be possible to watch at the time, or which would even, I think, Czech TV after 89 was only showing Dynasty and Dallas as like two first introductions of Western culture for us former Soviet people. So I mean, yeah. And with the Two and a Half Men, maybe you have more direct experience
I
with that.
mean, we kind of landed on it randomly, no? But like I unfortunately have like, I mean you did a very nice like intro to Politics 101 of these TV shows. In my case, this is kind of like really boringly personal. I I remember that this is a show that was running on Czech TV called Prima Cool around like somewhere between like 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon before I was leaving for my karate classes, which for some reason was like a thing that I was desperately not looking forward to and always like completely dissociated into a combination of TV and Call of Duty simultaneously. So like all of the
Speaking
episodes of
of
Two and a Half.
masculinity.
Speaking of masculine, all of the episodes of like Two and a Half Men have somehow just like buried themselves passively under the sounds of machine guns in my laptop. Like it's like a very specific space that it is in. Regardless, one thing that is I think also important that
Were
we
you
also
the
did not
machine
mention.
gunned or the machine gunner?
Oh, I even wrote an entire text about having been the machine gunned. But
That's for another episode then. Okay.
and that's for another time.
Sorry,
No,
I
but what?
interrupted you. Go back to Two and a
No,
Half
I
Men.
think.
Actually, I watched one episode for the first time in my life yesterday. And fortunately, the service you sent me where I was able to watch that episode allowed for higher speeds of playback. So I played it in twice the speed, and which allowed me to somehow survive it. But already starting with the entrance theme song or jingle saying "men men 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 men." I thought like
I
I'm not
mean,
sure if I'm on the right planet, but okay.
no, but come on. That was like a that's a really okay, but maybe fair enough. But then let's get into like the meat of what we are like actually
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes, we have last
I
20 minutes. Please, like let's be
so let's
serious
go.
here. I mean, Maxine, do this for me. Like, yeah.
I mean, come on, math, whatever. It also has a certain dynamic. No, you'd never get a clear answer. Regardless, I mean, I think that both of us like relate to men in a specific way. Be it both having to been like forced into this category for like large parts of our life, and at some point being like, actually, fuck it, we're absolutely not doing this, and then being exposed to like exactly this kind of like forms of masculinities that obviously changed through time. Um, but we picked two episodes of Golden Girls and of Two and a Half Men, with both of them kind of featuring therapy or psychiatry as a central element, and of men kind of trying to figure out where their like softness or failure to perform specific forms of masculinity kind of crack.
Hmm.
Um, and by the end of the episode, like never really figuring that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole mental health discourse is, of course, yeah, quite present in both TV shows in various episodes. But I think it's also good I think this whole episode of two of us talking would be just one prolonged, delayed intro, because we'll be constantly coming back to explaining why we are talking about something and what are our entry points to things. But the reason why we're talking about masculinity and specifically on these examples relates obviously to the general, like, endless stream of media overtake by the topic. Like, you can't basically find one issue of a online platform, newspaper, magazine without at least one article relating to so-called like crisis of masculinity or whatever, and coming from very queer trans positions. Like, it feels like we had this very short period from maybe, I don't know, like 2015, 16, growing within like 2019 with this like liberal queer feminism focus in popular culture within the whole social media discourse and social media activism, and all of that felt like and also within contemporary art, which we both are somehow connected to. And there has been this attempt to bring in marginalized voices into the mainstream narratives. It took a couple of years, and suddenly we are just talking about masculinity over and over again. So obviously, one might feel almost a bit annoyed why that is the case, since we literally had thousands of years to talk about that. And after 5 years of talking about queerness, here we go back to the old tropes of everything. But during our plannings and discussions, like, we really, and all our long conversations, endless conversations, we are constantly trying to position ourselves as not being man haters, right? Because that
Yeah,
simply,
absolutely.
yeah, like, why would you do that? Like, makes no sense to create additional like borders or ostracizations or marginalizations of someone else just because you are angry that you are not being represented, right?
Completely. I mean, I also think, I mean, to a certain degree, no, we kind of rightfully have to admit, I mean, we both came out around like somewhere between like woke 1.0 and woke 2.0.
Yeah.
Um,
Nicely
and
put.
I mean, like in full honesty,
Mm.
like in the moment of like feeling I can finally reject this thing that felt like I don't know, like a parasite stuck on me somehow passively. I it's not like I didn't go through a period of massive man hating. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely did.
Da.
And I think our voice notes definitely showed that at some point. Um, but regardless of that, um, I mean, at some point I started like dating a trans guy who I'm still dating, raising a kid with. And then we went through like this bizarre period of also like Western feminists figuring out that like, oh, look at these like Arab men who get their like children murdered. They do cry. Isn't that crazy? And that feels like it somehow opened like again like a different like
Mhm.
place for a lot of like white global north on this. And I got like even more irritated by like a plain unreflected man hating that actually does not, yeah, that doesn't touch anything. And I think maybe in that
Which does
sense,
not
like it
see class, which
Mhm.
does not see
Absolutely.
global politics divides, which only focuses on identity within a very narrow-minded social media globalized discourse. I think the reason why we talk about woke 1.0 and 2.0 and whatever is happening now like is obviously the fact that we somehow forgot to talk about class at a certain point, and only now we are painfully realizing what a fucking mistake that was, and how to catch up with the fact that all our woke separating of people into categories created a vivid area for the new fascism to rise. So, but I mean, that's a tough one. That's maybe not for today, but it is
I mean,
definitely in the background, right?
I mean, like the fashion is always in the background. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But I think that what we were, I mean, at least for me, this was the case. I I feel this like constant attempt at like finding like the white guy that I actually like do like beyond just like superficial like interest of some sense. Um and I think that we both came to the point after like watching these TV shows that both of them, despite being what, like 25 years apart, basically, or even more, the specific
Mm.
episodes are really like almost 30 years away from one another. Um, that they both feature some form of like this like soft masculinity that is kind of like asking for help in some sense. I mean, failing also, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And we're kind of, I think that we're both in both of that, we're trying to like locate, if not the characters completely, but at least like elements of them um, that we can either like relate to or be gentle towards in some sense.
Yeah, totally. And when you, I mean, with the case of, it's somehow fitting to put these two shows next to one another because one centers fully a story of four women living together in a shared house, and there is this index or like a measure, instrument or device or scale, which somehow is focused on popular culture and measures how many interactions there are between female characters in a film
I,
or in a piece of literature. How is it called? Do you
I think you
remember?
mean Bechdel test. No, it also like measures like how much of that time is spent talking about different men and how much is it
Yes,
talking
yes,
about.
yes, yes, yes. Yes,
Mhm.
very cool. Exactly. And Golden Girls are just like mainly interactions between these women, and of course that they're constantly dealing with men coming in, but the men there are not they're not the protagonists. They're the instruments of narrative which come in, somehow interact as like they do their little Deus ex machina thing, they move things around, but then they again disappear. So the four women can at the end decide and say, you know what, we love each other. And we actually, the important part is this friendship and not us bickering about these men or whatever. Uh, yeah.
Totally. What I found really interesting in watching this, because I've never watched Golden Girls before. I just again like know passively of them, but that's kind of it.
Mm,
What I found extremely interesting was that I feel like a lot of people are now talking about like the girl's girl, about
mhm,
how like instead of like actually peaking or like attempting to materially change things as female presenting person, whatever, or as a feminist in any way, you just go into like, oh, having a boyfriend is cringe, and I'm just gonna complain about him with my friends on a brunch on Saturday, but like not actually do shit. Um, and like I've somehow felt like the Golden Girls do like an interesting because like it is that, right? Like they are like girls to one another. Materially, there is no like change. I mean, it's also a sitcom, so nothing
By the
can
way,
really
that's what
change.
we should be doing, having a brunch together and complaining about stuff. But we are doing
Yo,
it now, Nab, and that's
I
okay.
mean,
Sorry.
I am genuinely turning into like the most annoying version of a white girl in the past year and a half. My boyfriend's having already really a lot of trouble with that. I'm not sure that he would manage me going on brunch on Saturdays to bitch about him, but sure, girl, we can do that. Regardless, I'm not
Love
necessarily
you. Amazing. Okay.
um no, but like the funny thing is that like that Golden Girls like also simultaneously deal with the men as like as with like interruptions, but it does not because like the episode you sent me features a man that is in love with one of them, but we find out he's actually trying to like deal with like issues with his mother. So the woman takes her mother to his therapy session, and he leaves with the mother at the end of it. Um, and but there's somehow like almost not even like an annoyance with him by the end of it, but some sort of like a gentle understanding of like, I mean, yes, fair enough. We all have trouble and we just like helped another fellow soul to kind of deal with like his
Yeah.
issues.
I
Um,
mean, this particular character is a reoccurring character in the show in its all 7 seasons. It's actually ex-husband of one of the main
mm,
characters, Dorothy, who he's suddenly again obsessed with. He used to be this like total, like in the terminology of the show, this like total loser with no money and shitty ideas. And suddenly, I think by the season 5, he gets rich and he offers Dorothy to get back together. They constantly keep running into one another, and there's this like ongoing thing. Are we again forming a relationship or not? Like Golden Girls, that's also very important to say, are basically a floor plan for Sex and the City because it's the four women together. They have these
of
like very
course.
similarly designed characters. There is this woman who is a complete Samantha, constantly having sex with like random people everywhere. Then Dorothy is this like woman who goes out once in half a year with a man, and everyone is like, what? And then she keeps running into her ex-husband. So yeah, so that's why they also go to this like therapy session. And besides the fact that there is this whole like humor or like mockery of the whole format of traditional therapy, there's this conclusion or like somehow mid-process conclusion that the guy should actually focus on something else besides the mother or the daughter, and he's given by the therapist a plushy toy of a monkey or what, which he suddenly falls in love with, or I don't know, it's like too much already. But yeah, maybe we have last 10 minutes. Maybe we should also talk about the other show and about like nowadays. What do you think?
No, yeah, absolutely. I think I wanted to because like what I found interesting is that I find
Hmm.
the parallel. So in like in episode of Golden Girls, we're dealing with like this guy who then ends up falling in love with a plushie, eventually. Um, in and that is the that's like the liberation moment.
Hmm.
In in the episode of Two and a Half Men that I sent you, we are dealing like with a character, because like right, like, one of them is Charlie Sheen, arguably a lot less interesting character actually, because I really find much more interesting the other one who I completely forgot his name. Doesn't matter. I never watched the TV show. I watched it for the
The
first time.
brother.
The brother, um, who is a divorcee kind of like failing to like establish any kind of alternative like relationships with women. But what is extremely interesting is that both of their relationships, for one reason or another, usually through like mutual also fucking up, are kind of getting screwed over. Yet by the end of it, they like find a spot together. What I found extremely interesting that the brother, I find like a parallel in him to the plushy guy from Golden Girls, as he's like, I'm not like by the end of it, he gets like unapologetically soft. There's like an interesting scene where he's leaving the bar and like Charlie Sheen tries to like hits him with like a chud line of basically you're gay, and he like completely smoothly replies with, I am not gay, I am metrosexual, and walks away with like the perfect like model kind of walk to go home, eat Chinese food, and watch Glee. I find this somehow
Wow.
like incredibly like I mean it's come on, it's like it's 2000, like by the time that this is airing, it's like 2009 or something. It's the time I was getting called a faggot and beat up at school. And then like a TV that starts with men, 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 men. It's about men who are like treating everyone else like fucking trash. Are oh shit, I actually don't know. Can we swear on can we swear on radio?
This
Anyway,
is a proper broadcast. I mean, how dare you?
I mean it's Sunday mass. Regardless, like it's like there's an unapologetic not only like softness, there's like a
Mm,
subscription almost to like, no, you are a relic of the past. I am like part of like new men. And somehow, funnily enough,
mm.
this has never reached like my life. I don't know if this is just like living in like Czechia. This has just like arrived a decade later or
Mm.
something. But I found it extremely interesting in some sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I mean, for sure, there is this like Eastern European delay in popular culture at that time, which obviously with the rise of social media dissipates completely. But I actually okay. So just maybe shifted quickly to nowadays.
Yeah.
Since it's 40 degrees everywhere and it's impossible to like function. I actually binged yesterday night the last newest season of The Bear, and basically The Bear started as this thing of like people, mainly men, constantly struggling with their masculinity, fighting within this like job they love but also hate, and like beating each other up and swearing in every sentence. And suddenly, the last season, after 5 full seasons, the whole therapy discourse completely reframed the thing, and the narrative arch is closed with all of these characters being completely the most polite, friendly, the most gentle and nice characters ever. Obviously, they still have their internal anger issues and whatnot, but they are somehow healed. And I think, with like big air quotes, I think this is one of the dangerous slippery slopes of the whole popular culture taking on the mental health discourse, that like things can be just like easily solved and we can just become our best selves and whatnot. And that's the end of the story, the last season, the last episode, the last goodbye. And yeah, anyway.
No, totally, totally. I mean, at the same time, come on, like to a certain degree, this maps very well on like our own experiences, no?
Mm, yeah,
Like
I mean,
it's
internalized
so
anger issues. Yeah.
completely no, but come on, like it's such a messy thing that like you're constantly presented with like a thing that there is like a final point to like to
Mm,
transition to figuring out like
mm,
gender, to like reaching some kind of a point in time.
Mm.
And with this, I mean, like even I think even like the non-binary discourse that then like sticks with like, oh, it's like completely fluid and you can do whatever, still somehow like implicitly speaks of the fact that there will be a point where you will like figure it out for yourself, but it
Yeah.
completely ignores the fact that gender is always something that happens through the eyes of another, that it's
Mm.
something that's always like under pressure from the outside and is formed not like through you only, but also through like presence of like others. And therefore, I think we're like coming back to still the same thing, that as that if we like ignore the material conditions and class and different sorts of like oppressions dealing that other people that different people are dealing with, we will always just end up with like a simplistic answer like this of like, oh yeah, final episode, you figured it out, like you're good, like now you are the whatever man, boy,
Baby.
NB,
Now,
which is
now
just
you
such
are really,
bullshit.
really giving us the proper Sunday Mass sermon. I think this
Yes.
was a beautiful conclusion, considering that we're like on last 2 minutes or what. I have no idea what better to say than this. Maybe okay, maybe just like one last thing in regards to the whole nostalgia phenomenon and the whole like uh, uh, f- f- mm, pushing to the front always for a couple of years, just one specific identity or like identity spectrum to be focused on and taken care of. Considering that we were talking about shows from like mid 80s till nowadays, including Sex and the City and whatnot, uh, there is this constant reiteration of the same tropes over and over again. And of course, that we see a certain form of development or like certain form of societal change, but also the presence is just simply there. Like it's not that we would now discover a so-called crisis of masculinity or that liberal queer feminism discovered queerness or whatnot. So yeah, as you said, this is an ongoing thing, and it's maybe good sometimes to look into these historical references, now.
And I would also say like look at them with gentleness.
Yeah.
Um, as
Yeah, not
like
be like canceling it right away or what? Yeah,
exactly. Like don't get me
yeah,
wrong, like it's trash and some of the things that are said are obviously horrible and like I'm now reading like Short History of Trans Misogyny and it mentions again this like episode of Sex and the City where like Samantha
yeah. I
screams at
remember
the
that
like black
one.
trans women. Like it's obviously it's horrific. Um, it's completely horrific. But at the same time, like seeing it and being able to like accept it as some sort of like a point in time that we will have to tackle one way or another, with a certain level of gentleness and acceptance and just acknowledgement that things are and where the way they are is an inevitability.
Yeah. Do you have a bell? I think
Yes.
a I think a church sermon should end with a bell, nah? Or like
Oh,
I mean, I'm in Switzerland, so we should have some cowbells, but unfortunately not around. I don't
I mean,
know.
I have
Like,
incense.
do you have incense? Not sure if that's
Yes.
really a podcastable format, but maybe Dan has something in the space of joy. Maybe there's a bell somewhere, like pam 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 pam. Uh, this is it.
Yes. No.
No, I think so. Okay, so nothing is actually audible from the space of joy through this Google Meet situation. Anyway, so just imagine the church bells ringing and signing off uh, Maxine
As
and
we
Yen from this.
as we gently as two these two trans people gently put a wafer into your mouth, put a like put a cross over your head, say thank you, sister, thank you, brother, and leave for the rest of the Sunday.
Thank you all for listening at any point. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.